Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're tackling something that is, well, it's pretty universal, but we almost never actually talk about it. We're going to explore that strange, heavy emptiness that sometimes hits you the absolute second you wake up. You know the feeling? It isn't grief, it's not a panic attack, it's literally just an absence. So, let's unpack what this feeling actually is, why our gut instinct is to run as fast as we can from it, and a really simple, science-backed way to actually process it.
The alarm goes off, the coffee boils, and inside, there is simply nothing. Let's actually just pause and slow down for a second to really validate this, because it's such a highly specific, visceral feeling. You wake up, your physical body is there, the day is starting, but somewhere between taking that first deep breath and your very first conscious thought, there's just this gap. It's almost like whatever was supposed to fill up your morning was quietly scooped out while you were sleeping. It's not even necessarily a bad feeling, right? But it is undeniably empty.
And that brings us to what is arguably the most crucial question of your entire morning. What do we do next? Seriously, think about it. When you're lying there in bed and you feel that hollow void opening up right in your chest, what is your immediate, knee-jerk reaction? How do you actually respond to the silence?
Well, for the vast majority of us, our reaction is pretty frantic. We instantly grab the phone. We blast loud music. Maybe we stress eat. Or on the flip side, we completely lose our appetite. We doom scroll endlessly or, and I know some of you do this, we dive headfirst into our work emails and Slack messages at like 7 a.m. We speed up, we create this chaotic blur of action. And why? Because we are doing absolutely everything in our power to make sure this emptiness doesn't get too close to us. We literally try to push the discomfort away by filling up the room with noise.
Now, to understand why we do this, we really have to look back. Because from a very young age, we're basically conditioned to fix uncomfortable feelings instantly. Think about it. A crying child gets handed a piece of candy. An anxious child gets plopped in front of a cartoon. We were essentially trained, right from the start, to react to our internal feelings with external distractions. We were taught to cover them up immediately, rather than just stopping for a second to actually observe what's going on inside.
In all of that childhood conditioning, it creates a really dangerous and honestly super exhausting myth. We carry this totally false belief with us all the way into adulthood. This idea that internal discomfort is essentially a rock in your shoe that has to be shaken out immediately, by any means necessary. But let me tell you, constantly outrunning your own internal state every single day, that is an absolutely exhausting way to live.
Okay, let's dive into this. How should we actually be looking at this emptiness instead? I know it sounds terrifying, kind of like this bottomless abyss, but the reality on a random Tuesday morning is much smaller and way more practical. It is just a biological signal. Think about physical pain for a second. If your back hurts, your body is simply saying, hey, you're sitting weird. Emptiness works the exact same way. Your psyche is literally just saying, hey, something inside needs some attention right now. It's not a bottomless pit at all, it's just an alert light popping up on your dashboard.
So, if we aren't supposed to drown it out with a podcast or mindless scrolling, what are we actually supposed to do? Well, we drop the momentum. The very first step, and honestly, this is a total paradigm shift from how most of us operate, is to simply name it. Yep, that's it. You don't fix it, you don't sprint away from it, you just name it, either out loud or just quietly in your head. Right now, I feel empty. Or, right now, it's just really hard to start. It isn't a complaint. It's literally just stating a fact.
And this brings us to a super fascinating psychological process called affective labeling. When you clearly put a name to a feeling, something pretty incredible happens inside your nervous system. Your brain literally switches gears. It shifts out of that frantic, threat, I need to fix this right now, survival mode, and it moves into an, okay, here is some information, I can just observe this mode. Research actually shows that by simply giving the emotion a name, you physically reduce the intensity of your brain's emotional response. You're giving the feeling a little more room to breathe, which means you're giving it a lot less power over you.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the totally critical distinction between naming and explaining. Because naming is short, it's sweet, and it's judgment-free. Just, I feel empty. It's exactly like stating the weather outside. You know? Oh, it's raining. Explaining, on the other hand, is a massive trap. Saying, I feel empty because I didn't sleep well and my diet is terrible and honestly, my whole life is a mess right now. Well, that's a verdict. That carries a ton of heavy judgment. We want to stick strictly to naming. No becauses, no therefore I have to go fix it immediately. Just deliver the daily weather report of your mind.
I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. You're sitting there thinking, wait,
That's the whole trick? I just notice it? Yes, absolutely. And as the quote goes, just noticing feels like a massive letdown in a culture that is absolutely obsessed with immediate transformational results. We all want that 5-minute life hack that's going to magically obliterate sadness, right? We want the fully optimized morning routine. So simply saying to yourself, I am sitting here with myself and I'm just noticing, it feels almost entirely too passive, like you're doing something wrong.
But here is the absolutely crucial point. Without making genuine, honest contact with your true internal state, any external action you take is just completely fake. It's literally just a temporary bandage slapped over a wound that you're refusing to even look at. You can do all the right, highly productive things, you can say all your positive affirmations in the mirror, but if you haven't made honest contact with the emptiness that is actually sitting right there, absolutely nothing is shifting on the inside. You really have to build from the ground up, not start at the roof.
So let's see how this actually builds into something you can do today. This is the daily practice of noticing. It breaks down into 3 incredibly grounded steps you can take every single day, whether that's right when you wake up, after a super tough conversation, or even right before you go to sleep. Number 1, ask yourself, what is here right now? Number 2, what specific word can I use to actually name it? And number 3, where does it live in my body? Do you feel it tightening up your throat, or maybe it's sitting really heavy in your chest? This right here, this is your toolkit.
Now, if speaking those words out loud feels a little too difficult or weird at first, there is another really powerful way to anchor this practice. You can use a simple state journal. And don't worry, you don't need to write out paragraphs of deep psychoanalysis here. Just track it. Morning, heaviness in the chest. I'm going to name it emptiness. Afternoon, not in the stomach. Let's call that anxiety. Just writing this down creates actual, tangible proof that your feelings are real. It proves that you witnessed them, and most importantly, that you didn't just suppress them by keeping yourself frantic and busy. You were truly present with yourself.
We're going to wrap up today with this incredibly grounding mantra. Right now, there is emptiness in me. I see it. I am here. Just let that deliberate cadence sink in for a second. The next time you wake up and you feel that heavy nothingness creeping in, just put your hands on your knees, take a really slow breath, and say these exact words. Give it a name, make that honest contact. And I want to leave you with this final kind of provocative thought. What if the emptiness inside you isn't some horrible enemy that you need to constantly outrun, but simply a quiet part of yourself that's just waiting to finally be acknowledged? Thanks so much for exploring this with me today. Try noticing tomorrow morning, and let's just see what happens.